This is Line Games by Randy Vincent, an amazing jazz guitar book. You could use this for other instruments as well. It's kind of guitar oriented. So I got this book recently, and normally when I make a video like this I play through the book and then I make a video about it. But I was so excited, I got it. Actually, the publisher sent it to me, so thank you. And right off the bat, the very first chapter kind of blew me away. So I can't wait, I want to share this with you. The first chapter is called Hexatonics. So, as I said, this was sent to me by the publisher, which means I have the permission to talk about it. But the idea of these videos is not to give you the content of the book, it's taking credit for someone else's work, right? So what I do is I try to show you which books I think are amazing and that I use, and I show you how I use them. So without further ado, let's look at the first chapter called Hexatonics. So what I'm doing there is I'm playing an A minor scale or a C major scale, but I'm leaving a note out. I'm dropping the F from the scale, which gives me a 6-note scale. So if I have a C major scale, good old C major. The F is what we call the avoid note, right? So let's avoid it. That gives me a 6-note scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it starts over. Hence the name hexatonic. So he calls this the C major 7, A minor 7 hexatonic scales. There are 3 hexatonic scales we're going to look at. This is the first one, because it's kind of like a C major 7 arpeggio, an A minor 7 arpeggio combined. So first off, let's learn the scale in all positions. So if you know your positions. Down here it's going to be like this. Then maybe here. You can think of that as the A minor pentatonic, right? That's the first scale I ever learned on the guitar. They just add the 9th. And then here. Find these kind of jazz lines here. So imagine you're C major or something, right? Like C major chord. Sounds like the stuff that Wes Montgomery would play. It's a little bit backwards to think A minor over C major 7, but it's a great sound. It's perfect if you want to play the lick, which I guess we don't. Then here. I'm kind of assuming that you know these positions. So just play around with it, improvise, getting to know the scale. So there are different ways we can think of this scale. We could stack thirds, which gives me an A minor triad and a G triad, right? A minor, G, A minor, G. And that's normally how we think of hexatonics. I've said before in a previous video I made years ago about hexatonics that when we talk about hexatonics, we don't really think of them as scales, we think of them as 2 triads. Like triad pairing or triad pairs. triad coupling, just taking those two triads and combining them, like if I have A minor like this. That's just A minor triad, a G. There's so many ways you can combine those triads to create different patterns and shapes. But I've talked about that quite a lot in my videos. So here it's a different look. We are thinking of it as a scale in the regular sense of the word. So different things you can do if you think of it like that. For example, you can think of them as two-note cells. So that's one cell. The next one. Well, you're thinking it's the same thing, right? But just thinking of it like that, then you can reverse the order. So instead of, you get or one up, one down, one cell up. It's just funny how just shifting your perspective can give you new ideas for lines and stuff like that. The next hexatonic scale we're going to look at is if I drop the third to a minor third. So at the same scale, but drop the third. Then you get a scale that is derived from melodic minor, right? So that we could use for any of the chords that you can find in the modes of the melodic minor. It could be B altered. So remember the thing we did with the cells? Already you may have new licks that I haven't thought of before. So this could be used over any of the melodic minor modes, but some work better than others. If you know your major flat 6 pentatonic scales, this is very close to that. So if I have a G major flat 6 pentatonic, so that's a G major pentatonic with a dropped 6th. Which is one of the melodic minor pentatonics that you could use also over the B altered. So this scale we're looking at now, it's the same thing, just adding a C. Then there's another one, and that's the same thing, the same melodic minor idea, but if I start from D and play the same scale, I start on D. So it's the hexatonic scale where we drop the third, so we get a melodic minor, but we're starting on D. Then I get a scale that is you can use over this kind of thing, like a sus flat 9 situation. Which might seem weird, but a lot of times we find this, let's say we're playing in tune in G major, and the intro is a D sus. And then you get this. It's a B triad over D. Alright, and then or whatever. So then you can play. Let me do that actually. So that's a C over D and a B over D. So I'll play this scale and then drop the third. So I'm shifting between the scale I showed you first, the C, C major scale with no F, and then the melodic minor one where I changed the E to E flat, but I'm starting from D. That's the thing you could do, which kind of introduces that flat 9 over the dominant chord, but it's not altered. That's a mistake I think a lot of jazz teachers do and students, that we jump to the altered scale too soon. The altered scale is a little bit funny actually, I've said this many times before, and this is another option, a more, how should I put it, it's a different option for that, getting that flat 9 on the dominant, because this could also be, you know, a 2-5-1. It could be A minor to D, that's a B over D. So it's some kind of flat 9 chord, right? And then G major. And then G major. So there I was playing the scale over the A minor, and then over the D7 flat 9 I was playing the one where I dropped the E to E flat. And then G major hexatonic over the G. So that's gives you some ideas for 2-5-1s. We also find these very common jazz phrases in this scale, like for example, so for example, honeysuckle rose. Actually, let's change key. Let's go to F hexatonic. So then you get this. Then the same thing before. And then C. So now we have a 2-5 to C. D minor, G7, C. Or the Crimea River. So in F. You could do that. The major. That's the major version of Cry Me a River. And then or so this is the kind of stuff that you will find in the book. So here's a guitar thing that he mentions too. If you want to spread out the scale over the fretboard, you can play 2 notes on one string. Now I'm back to the C hexatonic, and then 4 notes on the next string. That's the whole scale. So then I do the same thing on the next set of strings. 2 notes, 4 notes. So the way I'm doing that is I'm sliding the index finger from the B to the C. And by doing that, I kind of get a wider intervallic shape. Some people, I guess, are able to play 4 finger on the same. I've seen people do that up here, metal players and stuff, but Alan Holsworth, I guess, does that. I can't do that, so I'm sliding instead. Remember where we dropped the 3rd? So that's again a B altered. I could also play 4 notes and then 2 notes on the next string. And here instead I'm sliding with the pinky on the B to the C on the bottom string. Could be melodic minor. I actually prefer to slide with the first finger, even if it's 2 frets. I find the index finger is better at doing that. Maybe it's because I play the Django Reinhardt music, but... So this is the kind of stuff that you would learn in the book, and much more. As always, I'm just scratching the surface, and then this is just the first chapter. So I might do a video later on where I cover more stuff from the book. So let's say you want to play regular patterns, like... So those are thirds in C major. If we did that in this scale, we wouldn't get thirds consistently because of the nature of the scale, the structure of the scale. So some intervals would be fourths. If I do it from here, those are thirds in C major. In C hexatonic, I get this. So third, now I have to skip the F, so it's a fourth, third, which is really interesting because that gives you a more unpredictable sound. It's not as obvious. It might be easier to think of it as the A minor triad, 2 notes from the A minor triad, 2 notes from the G triad, A minor triad, G triad, A minor triad. So I'm taking 2 notes from each. It's like that's how you kind of would normally think of these hexatonic scales, as again as triad pairing, but I've talked about that before, and this is not really that. So that could obviously also be the melodic minor one. So again, let's say it's B altered. Gives you kind of cool sounds. Right away you're getting into kind of new ideas. Because we tend to, at least I do, play licks and finger patterns. So this opens up the altered scale a little bit, which is really cool. Notice also that I'm kind of avoiding the tricky notes. The F is the kind of funny note in the B altered scale. That's the note we're leaving out. That's what everybody does, right? That F is kind of a funny note. So there's an easier way to think, or maybe a better way to think of these intervallic ideas at first, and that is to play them, let's say, in E. So let's say I have an E. I play the E hexatonic. Skip the fourth. One octave. That's on one string, right? And then the next string. And together. Or as a line. So I started with fourths, then I get fifths, back to fourth. If I do them as double stops, I could also do thirds, right? If I start with a third instead. Set of strings, the exact same thing I just did. I get this kind of guitaristic sound. Almost like Hendrix stuff. So I love to experiment with that kind of stuff. And again, you could drop the third to a minor third and get the melodic minor instead. Which is a little bit more unusual, but it could open up the doors to new ideas. Oh yeah, there's another way you could play these scales to spread them out. You could play 3 notes per string. So if we go back to the C hexatonic, if I play 3 notes per string, I get this. And some people say, well, that's a really big leap. It's hard to stretch like that. But you don't have to stretch, you can just move your hand. It's a position shift, it's not a stretch. And I hear people play this all the time. If you have C major 7 or an A minor. To me that was just a lick, but now I realize it's a scale, it's an actual 6-note scale. That could also be the melodic minor. So B altered. See how I'm getting new ideas for altered? I love that because I'm always looking for new ideas for altered. So I'm gonna leave you with just jamming on a tune, Record A by Joe Henderson. So I'm gonna try some of those ideas over Record A. That's that lick. Cry Me a River. You get the idea. I was just trying some of the stuff I just showed you over a tune. Maybe Record A is not the best example because that melody actually has the 13 in there. So in this case you maybe want to play that note. That is kind of missing. But anyway, it's always good to find a tune that you can apply stuff that you're looking at so that you put it in like a musical context. So that was a lot of information, and the book is Line Games by Randy Vincent. Any book by him is amazing. And thank you for your time and attention, and I shall see you next time. Boom.